Hey everyone. Sorry for the long wait. I kind of needed a break from YouTube, so if you're wondering why it took me so long to come back, well, it's because I need a little break. Well, now I'm back, and this is for a different kind of video, you know. And this video is kind of a critique of a Spider-Man 3 review by a YouTuber I used to follow when I was younger, called the Blockbuster Buster. So, this video, mind you, before we get started on this critique and analysis on this review and why I believe that he is not entirely telling his truth and he is not really giving a fair response to the movie, I want to make clear, like I said, do not go after him. This is still a human being, and I don't agree with him doesn't mean I should hate him as a person. I don't know what he's like as a person, but I do not want to have that kind of beef. And I know Spider-Man 3 is a very controversial movie, and of course, I had to dress up for the occasion. And I see him, so my hair comes out, basic identity exposed. Anyway, this is the thing, and wow, the hair is really wanting to come out. Is that, yeah, this is an old review, so this is possible his opinion has changed. But we're still going to critique it for what it is. So, let's get started. But actually, because I know I'm going a little over the place, I get this kind of me reminding myself how to do this. Is that I'm reacting to the video, but because I also want to give the points of what he's talking about. So I will turn it up a little bit. Please do not copyright me, please, because I know that he uses some Spider-Man 3 music, so I'm praying to God I don't get copyrighted by Sony. So if he does play music, I will make sure it's toned down. Let's get started. Okay, no, we don't care for the intro.
World of uncertainty, where movie theaters are plagued by...
Okay.
Greetings, local drones. I'm Eva Lee, and I'm your reviewer. Long ago, the prospect of a Spider-Man movie seemed completely impossible. The special effects required to execute such a film did not exist. Plus, the characters were caught in legal limbo.
Well, if you count the Spider-Man fan film of Green Goblin's Last Stand, the guy, web-slinged on a building for real. But that's not the point. I do get what he's saying. Is, special effects like that may have not been existed, except they kind of can, because if you could make Superman's fly in the, I believe it was the 70s, then you could probably make Spider-Man do a similar thing, just with web shooters. Anyway, let's continue.
2002, when it was announced that Spider-Man was finally going to be released as a film, fans rejoiced because they were going to get to see their hero on the big screen. Thus far, Spider-Man is one of the highest grossing comic book movies of all time, only second to The Dark Knight.
Until now, when Endgame happened. But that's not the point. This video is pretty old.
Just like any successful film, this one had to have its wonderful sequels. Today we look at the best one of the three, and one of my all-time favorite films, Spider-Man 3. Now for those of you cheeky little monkeys that need a recap of the first two films, here's a lover.
Alright, we're just gonna skip this. We don't need this.
Stereotypes are hilarious. So our movie begins with a recap. In Spider-Man 2, they recapped all the pivotal moments from Spider-Man 1 with beautiful paintings done by acclaimed comic book painter Alex Ross. So how do you think they do the recap in Spider-Man 3? With a cheap PowerPoint, of course. Now, some of you might think this is cheap and lazy. I call it cost-effective.
Okay, this is where the issue with this video comes in. He's saying that the opening of Spider-Man 3 was cheap and effective. But you might be wondering, why do I believe this isn't the case? Well, because in the first Spider-Man movie, that in the opening, you could argue they might have had cheap versions too, because they used CG models of Green Goblin and Spider-Man and just used pictures of the city. Not Alex Ross art, which of course he is an acclaimed comic book cover artist. But this is the thing. He also forgets about the cool effects with the symbiote basically consuming the web, or the sand also taking over the screen. So I wouldn't really say that it's cheap and lazy. I think it's actually a little creative. And also, another one I just thought about is some of the scenes, which are mostly shards of web, or like pieces of web. Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2, when we see him swing around the cars, it actually is swinging over the scenes in the opening, which I think is actually pretty clever. Yes, is it not Alex Ross? Yes, it's not, which is sad. But, in my opinion, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But let's move on. This is like not as bad, but this is where I think the critique kind of is invalid, in my opinion.
So our movie begins with Peter Parker telling us how great his life is, while the other movies begin with him dealing with some form of inner struggle. This movie cuts out all that annoying conflict and gives us character resolution without him earning it, and that's just great.
And that's where it gets worse. This is completely false. If you've watched Spider-Man 2, you would know that he's basically in his peak of his life. Mary Jane is his girlfriend. Him being Spider-Man, New Yorkers love him, which in the first two Spider movies were very 50-50 on him. Thought of him as a danger. They were scared of him. So this also works for Peter to see, oh look, I am at my peak right now. And this is also the beginning of the movie, so mind you, the conflict shouldn't start around the beginning of the movie. For this one, I mean. Which it can work in the beginning, but for Spider 3, it's an exception, which I think works, because it also shows Peter he's a bit too happy. He's not realizing, he's basically kind of a little selfish in a way, so that's also the conflict. Peter also has to recognize that other people he loves are kind of suffering and also need his help. So, like Mary Jane, which he also brings up later, but let's continue.
Now this is a beautiful moment. I hope they don't ruin it with some idiotic sci-fi motif. Ha ha! Thank you. Now
I don't really get why that's an issue. It's just showing the symbiote come to Earth. I don't know what's the issue with that, but I guess that I feel like that part was really nonsensical. He had no reason to do that. Anyway, let's continue.
People are wondering, this is the Venom symbiote, come to Earth to help Spider-Man embrace his darkness. Now isn't it great how the filmmakers condensed a whole decade of comic book storylines into 3 seconds of movie? That's just wonderful.
Okay. Sorry, you might have almost seen a cursed image. I had to itch my nose. That's also an issue for me. Yes, is it a little weird to see the black suit be kind of changed, then basically change the story in a way which is very different from the comic? Yes, but does it work for the movie? In my personal opinion, I think it does. And it basically, in a way, the black suit not just shows Peter's darkness of, well, spoilers, Sandman killing his uncle. It's him, wanting to get vengeance on him, but it also shows his huge ego. It shows more of that out and shows a different side of this version of Peter Parker, which we haven't seen before, because this version of Peter Parker is usually a lot more quiet and timid. This version is a lot more bombastic and a lot more active, which is kind of disturbing in a way. So that's why, in my personal opinion, it works. Let's continue.
Decides to propose to Mary Jane when he is suddenly attacked by the vengeful Harry Osborn. Now, some of you drones might be put off by a second villain being introduced into the movie so soon, but it's okay.
In my head, I don't remember much of anything.
It's nothing a soap opera story device can't cure. Wow, this movie has the pacing of a young movie ball.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome, you cinematic titan.
I do. This is one of the only points I do agree. Do I think Harry getting a coma was a little bit of a cop-out? Absolutely. I do think that was a little unnecessary. Yes, in the comics, Norman Osborn did get also a coma as well when he became Green Goblin, but that was for a different storyline. This is different because they want to give more attention to each villain, which, it's a little bit of a dumb cop-out. They could have done something a little bit better with that cop-out than just, oh yeah, he lost everything of him becoming Green Goblin. But let's continue.
Hero attends Spider-Man Appreciation Day. A hero who once fought with all his might to protect his anonymity is attending a public event? This seems strangely familiar. Ah, yes, another master.
Okay. I won't go angry about this, but this is also another basically false. This is absolutely false. He's saying that it was a Spider-Man Appreciation Day. No, that is not what happened. Spider-Man was attending an event where he was getting the key of the city because apparently Blockbuster wants to forget everything about that context of that scene. Spider-Man saved Gwen Stacy, which of course she's the daughter of the captain of the police, Captain Stacy. So Captain Stacy was basically so happy that Spider-Man saved his daughter that he gave him the key to the city. That's what the event was. Spider-Man gained key to the city. Not him getting Appreciation Day. I don't know why he says that. It makes me believe he's just taking clips from the movie and just giving some random context to it. And comparing it to Batman and Robin, I feel like it's just even more disrespectful in my opinion. Because I'm going to say this. Spider-Man 3 is objectively a better movie than Batman and Robin. I think everyone can agree on that. Is Batman and Robin the worst comic book movie ever? I wouldn't say it's the worst. Is it bad? Yes. But is Spider-Man 3, should we compare Spider-Man 3 to Batman and Robin? No, really. The only thing I could really compare it with is it has 3 villains. That's really it. I honestly think Spider-Man 3 handles its story a lot better than Batman and Robin. Let's continue.
Now I know what you're thinking. This movie already has a kid with spider powers, a little black blob that came out of a meteorite, and a rich kid that owns a hoverboard. Isn't there anything else that we could pile on to this already hefty pile of bullshit? Ah, yes. Enter the Sandman. All puns intended. Now, if a man of sand is not idiotic enough for you, how about the Sandman turning out to be the one who killed Uncle Ben? Now, I know this might seem downright asinine to anyone who saw the first 2 films, but this is what modern Hollywood people call a plot twist. As long as...
Okay. So, I'm praying to God he didn't just insult Sandman, the character himself, because if he is, why? You're supposed to be a quote-unquote comic book fan, and you're calling Sandman dumb? You're not even going to call Green Goblin dumb. You're not even going to call Doc Ock dumb. But not even Spider-Man, but you're going to call Sandman dumb. That's a little ridiculous to me. And he also does bring up the Uncle Ben thing. Yes. Do I think it was a little bit of a cop-out? Yeah. I'm not going to argue against that. But, in my opinion, I think they actually made it work really well. Especially with the ending scene, which I'm hoping he does bring up. And he, of course, I'm not going to show the video because, like I said, I don't want to get copyrighted or anything like that. Because he's showing a lot of footage from a lot of movies. And, of course, you probably hear some of the audio. So, Sony is probably going to copyright me in, like, the second I release this video. But, yeah, he shows posters of Village, Signs, and Sixth Sense. Which, of course, he's using M. Night Shyamalan movies. Which are notorious for using plot twists. But, in my opinion, these 3 images, I feel like, is not really the best way to show plot twist movies. Because you're just showing 3 movies by the same director. Which that director, of course, like I said before, is notorious for doing plot twists. So I feel like you should have more variety of what movies you choose that does a really well done plot twist. But let's continue.
It has a good plot twist. Shouldn't worry about telling a good story or something as trivial as delivering a good performance. Ah, yes, my favorite part of the film. Venom takes over Spider-Man and they kill the Sandman.
Not really Venom. It's still the symbiote.
I think that now that the Sandman is dead, that the film is going to focus on the other 2 villains. Heck no, bring on the 3 villains, just like that other great comic book film.
He brings up Batman and Robin again, and like I said, I don't think it's really a fair comparison.
So now that Peter's evil, he goes on to do stereotypical evil things, like dressing like a Nemo, blowing off part of Harry's face, cheating on Mary Jane, and my personal favorite, Evil Dancing. Oh yeah.
I don't want to, like, he does play this song for a while, so we're just going to skip this. He plays a... Here we go. Okay, he's playing a lot of copyrighted music, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit.
Donkey dick, I don't even know where to begin. How about the whole hour and 44 minutes that go by before Venom shows up in the movie, even though he was advertised as being the main villain?
Okay. This is the thing. I do agree with that. That is one of the points I will give him. Yes, Venom did show up way too late in the movie. Heck, even the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 game, which, by the way, I love, and I might do a review of it eventually, maybe with another person, because I want to make it a big review. I don't want to make it a small review. But they actually had the same problem as well. Venom was way too late into it. And yes, also, he doesn't bring up here, Topher Grace says Eddie Brock. I do not like that choice. Even Topher Grace doesn't seem to like the movie either. And Topher Grace, I actually respect him. He's done a lot of good stuff, but I just don't think he works as Venom. Let's continue.
And then when he does show up, what does he do? He kidnaps Mary Jane. Real original, numbnuts. So Venom and the Sandman decide to team up, and obviously Spider can't take on both villains alone, so he decides to call upon Harry for help, who is still a little sore at him for blowing off half his face, so he tells him to fuck off. Luckily, Harry finds out the truth about his father's death from who the fuck are you?
The Butler. We've seen multiple times in Spider-Man 2, and of course the beginning of Spider-Man 3. To answer your question. I do know a lot of people do not like the scene. I personally think it's fine. I argue maybe he didn't know that Harry was grieving or trying to want to get revenge on Norman Osborn. That's possible. And I think that there was a better way of redeeming Harry. Because Harry in the comics also was redeemed and not becoming like his father, which is a more horrible and evil person. But yeah, I think that is it is a little anticlimactic to end off this overarching storyline in this way. I feel like there was a lot better way of doing it. And I did see some deleted scenes where they show Harry looking at the picture, I think, of Peter, Mary Jane, and him, which I think would have been a lot better. But let's continue.
It pierced his body, came from his glider.
Did he just find out a pivotal piece of information from a character who has had less than a minute of screen time? Not just in this movie, but in the whole saga? They just Deus Ex Machina. Right up our ass.
I wouldn't say that's a Deus Ex Machina. I do think it is, there's a better word for that. A cop-out. But I do see the issue with the scene, but I've also explained my reason why I think the scene kind of works in a way. But let's continue.
So Pete and Harry go to fight Sandman and Venom, and fuck it. Venom explodes, Harry dies, the Sandman cries, and nobody knows why.
This is why I also don't like this review, because he skips all of the best parts of the movie. The final battle, I would say, is one of the best parts of the movie. It is a really well done fight scene. It's epic. It feels like a fitting finale. Peter being Venom felt really, like, impactful. Harry dying was like, what? And of course, Venom standing with his glider is kind of poetic in a way, and I think works. And Harry's death was actually legitimately kind of sad. And the Sandman scene where he says, oh, Sandman was not crying, which, not crying, but I'm going to go back, because this is...
So Pete and Harry go to fight Sandman and Venom, and fuck it. Venom explodes, Harry dies, the Sandman cries, and nobody knows why.
So he says nobody knows why. But we do know. Most of these scenes, of course. Harry dies because Venom stabs him. Because apparently Blockbuster wants to take the context out of the scene, and what made it even better is that Harry, which Norman in the first movie was trying to kill Peter. Harry died saving Peter, which I think is a really cool way of ending off Harry's character. And of course, it being Venom, which makes Venom even more impactful in the movie, even if he wasn't in the movie that often, which that sadly happened. And I'm not personally a big fan of Venom's character in the movie. But he also brings up, oh, Harry died. Like I said, he also brings up the Venom explodes. Of course, Peter uses the Pokeball bomb, throws it into the symbiote, also kills Eddie. Sandman, like I said, the context of why he's crying is because Peter forgave him. The whole point of the movie is forgiveness. Peter forgave, basically, Sandman for killing his uncle because he realized that Sandman wasn't a horrible person. It was an accident, but it was also, like I said, he was trying to, basically, Sandman, aka Flint Marco, wanted to save his daughter from dying, and he wanted the money. And also another thing, like I said, right after, when Harry died, Harry said, I forgive you. Because he forgave him for Peter, kind of in a way, killing his father. Of course, it was Norman who basically kind of killed himself because he was trying to kill Peter. Mary Jane, they don't flat out show it, like flat out say it, but you can tell in the end of the scene that Mary Jane probably forgave Peter for Peter being kind of selfish towards her. That's why I think the movie works as a fitting finale for this version of Spider-Man. Let's continue.
This movie's a big pile of spider shit. Usually sequels are complete rehashings of the original movies, but this one strays way too far away from the original formula and crams way too many characters and way too many subplots into one movie. But the filmmakers win.
So he brings up that it breaks from the formula, but then he brought up before that they repeated Mary Jane getting kidnapped. So are you saying that they repeated it or they didn't? That's kind of confusing. Like, you're saying they have too many plot points and too many characters. Which, to me, I think that's just not really a good argument. Saying that there's too many characters and saying that makes the movie bad is not really a good argument. Because I can argue Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, even Star Wars. All three of those examples I just named, or hell, he's a fan of these movies, even the MCU has had a big cast and made it work. Spider-Man 3, saying that, oh, it's bad because of too many characters, I think is not really a good argument. I think the plot lines were interesting. Yes, do I think it might have had too many plot lines? Maybe a little. But does that mean the storylines were bad by any means? No, I don't think so. I don't think they were really that bad like he makes it out to be. I think he doesn't really say anything after this, but we'll just see the end just in case.
And again, because this piece of shit grows more money than Forrest Gump and The Lion King. Try to process that through your brain for just 1 minute. Spider-Man 3 made more money than The Lion King.
Which makes sense. I know people would probably be surprised because Lion King, of course, yes, he's using objectively better movies. But the reason it probably did well is because it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a huge, huge, huge property, bigger than Lion King. Not saying Lion King is not a big property. Of course it is. It's Disney. And Forrest Gump is also, I wouldn't really say it's a property. It's just one movie. Lion King, I also say it is because there is other stuff after Lion King. So it is, a franchise in a way. Spider-Man is a bigger franchise. It has a lot more popularity than The Lion King. So, of course, it would do well.
But the most heartbreaking thing for me personally was that director Sam Raimi, the creator of The Evil Dead, couldn't make Venom scary. I mean, the goddamn penguin in Batman Returns was scarier.
I don't really agree with that. I think Venom was actually pretty scary in the movie. I think they also did making the symbiote look was really cool. Sometimes it moved like, when you see movies, you see like claws come out. It makes it look like it was like, it doesn't look like it's from Earth. It doesn't look like some black blob, which the Venom movie kind of does, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I like that Raimi's version is at least unique enough to have it look like there's like claws coming. It looks demonic in a way. That's what I really like about it. Let's continue.
That's another story. Excuse me?
Okay, yeah, he does this thing in the end where he like kind of quote unquote busts movies. So we're not gonna react to that because it's unnecessary. Anyway, that's kind of the end of this part of the critique because he also does have another one on Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I feel like it is, well, I think good enough to kind of go into his critique on that. Because he does have two videos on it. His newer video is, you know, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it does have a lot of issues. Because, you know, it's just him beating those characters. That's all it literally is. Sorry, I'll try to pull it up.
If you're sluggish these days, you're not alone.
Nope, don't do that. Don't care, ad. Okay. Anyway, this is the thing. I will probably make the other critique video a separate video by itself. But that's really the end of this part of the video. And I hope you guys like this video. And also kind of, you know, put the ringer on, right? Put the ringer on for my videos. Subscribe, like, comment. But anyway, I think this will be the end of this video. So I will see you guys next time.